Hi, friends. It's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I don't know if you saw that storm that just came through here. It's kind of intense. And sadly, I'm not just talking about the weather. I was having a lovely day. I'd forgotten there's supposed to be horrific thunderstorms in like 15 minutes here. But about a half an hour ago, everything I was doing went wrong. I suddenly felt like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't contributing enough. All my friends are like, oh, I'm so bored. I've cleaned everything 3 times. And I'm like, my house is still a pit. Like, what are you talking about? Your house is perfect to start with and you cleaned it 3 times and you're bored. How? And I'm trying to practice on the driving simulator. And there's this one turn I just can't do. But sometimes I don't crash into the wall. I mean, I was just so frustrated, and the rabbits need groomed, and they're still kind of a little wild. Still don't know their entire story, and they're not the lap bunnies that I had once. And I keep wanting them to be that lap bunny, and maybe they'll get there. And you probably can't see because it's white, but I am like covered head to toe in white fur because they're shedding and they're not grooming each other properly. And if they don't, or even if they do, rabbits can't regurgitate a hairball like a cat. What happens is it just gets stuck. And so I'm having to go in there to spend time with rabbits who don't want to be held, and I have to hold them and groom them. And so there's three of them. They kind of gang up on me. And then you're feeling unloved because, like, why am I trying to help you? And why don't you? And the dog is freaking out because why am I being mean to the adorable bunnies? And just even like I try and feel their treat ball and all the treats fall on the floor. And I was just like, I am just so done today. And I'm almost on the verge of tears. And I don't even know why I came outside by the door and it's starting to rain. I was like, oh. Because sometimes you get so caught up in your frustration and you don't see what it is. I get pressure headaches, and there's literally a storm hitting right now. And it may be a lot of my frustration and clumsiness was the headache coming on. I'm okay. But how easy is it for us to forget? How easy, right? And it's just like, oh, it's like with a little kid. I remember my son when he was little. He was falling or something, and I grabbed his arm and I dislocated his elbow, and you could see it wasn't in right. And he just screamed nonstop. Well, I can't drive, and I'm waiting for somebody to get to me so I can get him to a doctor, and it's at the days where we didn't have urgent care, so I'm gonna probably have to take him to the ER. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? And all of a sudden, this commercial came on TV. He called it the dancing cookie commercial. It was a certain brand of cookie, and they danced around on the screen. And I'm like, I have that cookie. I went and got that cookie for him, and stupid elbow fixed itself, and he was fine. All forgotten, right? And that happens to us so often. What seems so important in the moment and so disastrous in the moment, and it's okay. And sometimes it is something really big and horrible. And I am not discrediting my son's pain. A dislocated elbow is awful, right? It is completely awful. But is it the end of the world? No. And so like what I wanted to ask you was, what is your spiritual cookie? So last night, my friends and I, in my formation class for the secular Franciscans, we got together. And even when we just get together socially, we're still liking to do Lectio because we're all complaining that we're not quite doing it as much as we want to. And for some reason, when we do it together, it's so amazingly fruitful. And last night, we were doing something in First John. I feel like it was First John 22. I do have it here, but it would take me longer to get out the notebook. So it was First John 22. I'm a visual learner, so I know where it is on the page. 26. And I guess it's through 29. I write this to you about those who would deceive you. But the anointing which you received from him abides in you, and you have no need that anyone should teach you, as his anointing teaches you about everything. It is true, and is no lie. Just as it is taught you, abide in him. And now, little children, abide in him, so that when he appears, we may have confidence and not shrink from him in shame at his coming. If you know that he is righteous, you may be sure that everyone who does right is born of him. And that was just so powerful to me last night. And so after I realized, oh, this is just a headache, and then this verse came to me again, the essence of it to me was about abiding in him. That when he comes to abide in you, if you realize earlier in the verses, it's saying, from him abides in you. The anointing which you received from him abides in you. And then it says, and now little children abide in him. And it was kind of like, when you get Holy Communion and he comes into you and you're his tabernacle, but then you're transformed, right? Your heart is being transformed into him. And it's that daily conversion that gives this little playlist its name, Our Blooming Catholic Life, that we stop. We have those moments, and like little flowers, we stop and we turn towards the sun. And when we turn towards the sun, we bloom and grow and become more beautiful. And that's where I got Our Blooming Catholic Life. And so sometimes we have those dark moments, those frustrating moments, those moments when we can't see our way out, we can't see the sun, we aren't getting the water that we need, right? And we just turn to him. It's like, just abide in him. Right there. And now, little children, abide in him, that when he appears, we may have confidence and not shrink from him in shame at his coming. And that was just the beautiful thought for today. So when everything is going wrong, just stop and just abide in him. And it'll be okay. The rains will come, the storms will come. Just abide in him. Abide in his heart. I don't know about you, but I can't wait. I can't wait to get the Eucharist again. But until then, we still have the Word, and the Word is Jesus. And so fill up on it. Fill up on spiritual communion, on virtual adoration. I admit I love the one in Marytown. A number of people are loving there's a church in Poland. And that is touching a lot of hearts. So I want to thank you. And I know EWTN has it. So if you don't have internet, but you do have cable TV, you can watch it on EWTN. They're offering it at least every day. And it's just such a blessing in this time. So when you're having that moment, because I know a lot of people are having it in this little quarantine time, you're having that moment, just stop. Just stop for a second and abide in him. Even if it's just for a moment, to catch your breath. Just know that he abides in you. And that's enough. That's enough in that moment. And I'm not saying like don't go out, don't eat food, don't get your exercise, don't take your medicine, just abide in him. No, you've got to do it all. You've got to do it all because you're a temple, right? You're a tabernacle. Yeah, you've got to do all those things. You've got to seek formation, do all these great Bible studies. Okay, don't do all the great Bible studies that are out there, but pick one and go through it and let yourself grow and learn, right? And sometimes when it's all too much, just abide.